I've clicked onto the Global Tropical Overview for June the 27th, 2023. As is always the case in these videos, let us question your mind alone, and when making decisions of any tropical cyclones, look towards your local weather office, local emergency management, and local tropical cyclone warning center. So across the tropics today, we have our same three systems to talk about in the Atlantic and East Pacific. We're going to start off again with Cindy, and the system right now is looking fairly disorganized still. Now, it can be a bit of a deceiving look at first. You have now convection looks to be right over the center of circulation. But if you look a bit deeper, it starts to become a little more clear that the system is still very disorganized, even more so than it was yesterday. Now we have a general wave envelope that you can see. We have southeasterly to northeasterly flow on the eastern side of this, and northeasterly flow to southwesterly flow on the western side of this system, and there is lacking westerlies on the southern side of this. There may be some semblance of some weak westerlies there on the southern side, but this is not enough to say that it's a closed circulation, so we generally have this sort of wave pocket that the system is currently showing right now. And also the thunderstorm activity is not very well organized. It is struggling. You can see this nice wave feature pushing out from underneath the storms. That's an outflow boundary indicating that these storms are collapsing as they tower up, indicating that this system is just overall disorganized. And this is not unexpected. The system is still fighting some wind shear and some dry air, and it's going to continue to do that at least for the next day or so. And eventually we're going to get the system to move further north. And the question is, will it be able to try and redevelop near Bermuda? There still is some guidance that suggests there is a possibility that the system tries to redevelop there, though the guidance today, particularly the GFS, has sort of decreased those odds of formation, or reformation, I should say. And it should be pointed out that regardless of redevelopment of the system, we're likely still going to see some adverse impacts in Bermuda as the system comes north. It does not matter if this is a tropical cyclone or if it's an open wave. You're still likely going to get some heavy rainfall, and you could absolutely get some ocean impacts as the system passes through. Now here's an ASCAP pass that we got earlier in the day showing the general wave pocket that I showed you on the satellite, with lacking westerlies, weak if at best on the southern side, so that indicates that wave pocket. Now here's the National Hurricane Center graphic. You can see they've dropped odds to about 20%, which seems fair to me as the system comes north. And again, regardless of development or redevelopment in this case, adverse impacts will likely come to Bermuda. And after Bermuda, we're seeing the GFS continue on the idea of the system recurving, but there is still a possibility that the system comes further north, perhaps closer to Atlantic Canada. Now we're going to move off to the East Pacific for the rest of this video, and we're going to start off with Invest 91E. And overall, just looking at this satellite imagery, you can tell there's been a lot of change over the past day or so. We've seen the system really get organized. Remember yesterday we talked about how it had a very broad circulation in general, and that was a sign that it was developing, but it was certainly not a tropical cyclone at that point. Now, the system has become better organized, in fact, much better organized since then. You can see on the eastern side, we've got in the low levels winds wrapping around to the northern side. If you look in the low levels, it's hard to tell with convection covering it, but you can get a general semblance. So we've also got winds rotating from the northern side to the western side, and we also have that westerly winds on the southwestern side of the storm continuing to push in to the system. So we've got this general envelope of rotation, more circular in nature compared to yesterday. Remember, yesterday it was elongated, and now we're more circular. And also, if you look in the satellite imagery, especially as the sun rose over the region, you can see a lot of very high cloud tops, and even maybe a semblance of some of these thunderstorms trying to rotate around what appears to be where maybe the low-level center is. Now, we can sort of get a confirmation of where this low-level center is. Let's see if we get generally around 15 north and around 105 west. If we look at an ASCAP pass we got today, just a little bit ago, 105 west, just about 15 north. And that confirms, here's the center on that ASCAP pass, fairly well defined underneath that deep convection. And what this indicates is the system is pretty well organized right now, and it's really set for intensification. This ASCAT pass confirms that this is likely a tropical storm right now and has winds at about 40 to 45 miles per hour. And I'd imagine the National Hurricane Center is going to initiate advisories on that later today with winds around that. Now, they have said that this system is already pretty much a tropical cyclone, and they're going to start advisories on it later today. Here's the National Hurricane Center graphic. You can see they're giving the system about a near 100% chance of formation, and that's expected with the current trend. Now, this system is, again, going to stay offshore, but this system could become the first hurricane of the season, first storm of the season, and first hurricane, though it will be have to fend off some of the wind shear from this upper level ridge here. Now, the system's size is a bit larger, so it does bring into the question, could this system fend off this shear a little bit better than you'd normally expect from a normal system? And it does look like that may certainly be a possibility. And given the current trends with where we now know the low level center is underneath deep convection, which looks to be possibly wrapping around it, I would not be surprised to see the system intensify over the next several days before it runs out of oceanic fuel. And I'd say a decent forecast for the first forecast on this would be a peak near or at hurricane status. I personally would say that the system has a decent chance to get towards hurricane intensity, maybe 75 or 80 miles per hour. And again, the good news is this system is going to stay offshore, but we cannot say the same for the system following Invest 91E. We have another system behind it that we're going to be talking about again, and this is the GFS ensemble spaghetti plot, as I like to call it, because it looks like a ton of spaghetti noodles put out all over the ocean. Now, we've seen a bit of a consensus today where we've seen from the GFS and the European of where the system is going to track generally offshore. Now, we talked about yesterday how there is still a bit of uncertainty on where the system will exactly form. Does it form on the northern side of the envelope and get it very close to or making landfall over Mexico, or is it on the southern side and it takes a track further offshore? Now, that is still something we have to contend with. This system has still not formed. We still don't have an area of low pressure with this, so things can still change. But we can get a general idea of where the system may track. Now, here's the GFS spaghetti plot, and you can see the general consensus has this system tracking offshore, perhaps getting a bit closer to Mexico in the latter portion of the track. And here's the European ensemble spaghetti plot, and you can see the general same idea, remaining offshore and possibly getting closer to Mexico in the latter part of the track. What this means is that with this sort of a track getting very close to Mexico, you could still get some significant impacts from the system, even though it's not really expected to make landfall on these models. Now, of course, don't look at these and say that you're completely safe from a landfall in Mexico. As I said, there is still that possibility that the system forms a bit further north, possibly, than we're anticipating, and comes further up to the coastline and maybe makes landfall. But in general, the consensus that we're seeing today from the GFS and the European has the system staying offshore. Now, here's the GFS parent model, and you can see, now the GFS I feel is being more reasonable with intensity today. It's putting it to a mid to strong tropical storm, possibly getting towards hurricane intensity as it stays offshore. And you can see just how close it gets on the model there. It still brings some strong winds to the coastline, and even with the system staying offshore, you can still get some onshore flow here, get a lot of rainfall, and especially in this mountainous terrain, you can get a lot of heavy rainfall in a very quick amount of time that can lead to flooding, possibly even mudslides. Now, here's the European on it, and you can see the European is also ticked up in intensity. You can see as well just how close it gets to the coastline. So this really is something to watch for in Mexico. So if you're along the coastline of Mexico and you're watching what is likely to be future 92E, just know that we're not expecting, of course, a big hurricane out of this. This is not going to be a major hurricane coming in, but this is going to be a significant system in terms of rainfall and wind, and you could certainly feel some adverse impact, especially if you're, say, vacationing along the coastline. It may not be your dream vacation of a tropical storm coming through, but overall, it's not going to be a big impact system, and the system is going to be moving pretty quick as well, so it's not going to take too long before the system gets out of your way. Now here's the National Hurricane Center graphic again. They're giving the system about an 80% chance of development as it generally tracks northwestwards, and we'll continue to monitor that, and I'll have further videos, of course, as I have had this whole week on both of these systems, including Cindy as well in the Atlantic. That's all that I've got for you today. Just a little recap on Cindy again, as I've done over the past couple of videos. Again, the system is very disorganized right now, but as it comes further north towards Bermuda, we could see some redevelopment take place, but regardless of development, we could still see some adverse impacts take place in Bermuda. But that's it for now. Thanks for watching.